Deliverance, well, maybe guess at what this could be, but not really certain. So let's see what IMDb has to say and if it can give us a clue. An Indiana family discovers strange, demonic occurrences that convince them and their community that the house is a portal to hell. Yes, going straight to hell, not good. Time to move. Uh, okay, so yeah, well, we get our plans to move together. Let's talk a little bit about this one. Fairly new film here on Netflix. Um, I know I saw it, recently, but maybe a couple of weeks back. But just hadn't gotten a chance to talk about it yet. So with that, I'll keep this kind of spoiler free since I know it hasn't been on there too long, and I really wasn't sure. I just it was one of those ones that kind of flashed there, and it shows new movie, new horror. So I honestly probably saw it up there once or twice, and kind of went past it, and it was just like, okay, I'll click and see what happens. Um, I will quickly say this about Netflix. Um, you know, I wish they had more horror on there. They do have a selection of horror on there. Um, and it's not a bad selection. I just think that a lot of the movies on there that are good I've already seen, and some of the ones they put on there are usually good movies that have already hit theaters and whatever. Usually, so those I've already seen, and I don't really want to watch them again. Good or not, and they're very slow to then put on new good horror movies. Sometimes they're series and stuff like that. They do have their true crime, and I can give them credit for that. But as far as horror movies, I wish they put more. And obviously, maybe some of the lower budget stuff or whatever, we find that more on Prime and on Tubi and other stuff. Um, so yeah, that's my quick comment about Netflix. Anyway, back to the point. Um, we're here and talking about this one. So, um, zero kind of expectations. As I put this on, like I said with the title, for some reason I kind of thought we were and then looking at the poster, obviously saw the poster when I clicked on it. Um, Thought maybe we were going to go down this exorcist demon kind of road. Thought that, so that was my kind of expectation. But I really didn't know what was happening in the storyline and so forth. Um, as the movie kind of starts, we kind of see this family, a family that's kind of struggling. It is a black family, I should say, but the woman, the mom here, has her mother is white, so we do have a little bit of a mix here, and her mother is Glenn Close, or played by Glenn Close, and no, it's not Glenn Close, but it's played by Glenn Close. So a surprise there. I was like, okay, didn't see that coming, but let's see what happens. I mean, this could be interesting after all. So we, at the beginning of this movie, we really kind of get introduced to the family and what's going on there. Is a young mother, and she has a couple of kids, two boys and a girl, all of different age. Some a little bit younger. I think there's a little boy that's a little bit older, still within needing to live at home under 18. But we got mixed ages here and so forth. So I think what the film kind of starts to set off and do, and was, not confusing, but kind of maybe threw me off a little bit, is really early on, really kind of hit that family dynamic, and I guess try to maybe hit towards maybe an audience that is going through this or has gone through this, and just kind of give you kind of their struggle. The mother there who has the three children, is struggling to make enough money to take care of them, is struggling to kind of deal with each one of the kids in their own way, is having several issues of her own, that she's also trying to overcome. and it's kind of affecting her life. She's had, some issues in the past, and, she has social services, I believe it is, that's coming and checking on her, checking on the kids, which is putting extra pressure on her. So, I would say for the good beginning portion of the film, you might not even know that it's a horror film. You might think, we're seeing, a drama or something of that kind of movie, really pushing the family dynamic and what is going on there and their struggle before we really throw in any demon, exorcist, or any of that stuff. So, as I'm watching it, like I said, I just kind of clicked it, whatever. I had slight thought of what it might be. So, I was kind of, waiting for that to come, but, it kept going on with that. And I was thinking, did I really see that that it said horror? Did I miss that? What happened here? Should I turn this off? I'm not really sure. You do then get a slight glance or two of maybe something strange. Eventually, the youngest boy kind of mentions at one point a friend, and a friend who might not be there. And so I think once that kind of happens, that is probably the first inkling that, okay, here we go. But, they're very slow paced at it. They kind of give you that. And then again, it is just, a lot of family dynamic, a lot of her, like I said, a woman from social services who she's had a past with before, kind of comes. You have issues with her. Her mom, and she has issues with her mom, and her mom is there. Mom is very supportive, but also, is still there. Her mom has cancer, so that's also a thing that's going on here. You see a little bit of the racial dynamic. A mom goes out to a place, she's getting her, I shouldn't say a place, is getting her chemo treatment, and so, has a black nurse that's treating her, and two other women are kind of commenting on her, kind of hitting on this nurse, and, kind of that thing. So you're getting a lot of racial dynamics and that into the film as well, and the family dynamics. And so a lot is going on here that is not horror. And really, I guess the film could have gone in a completely different direction and gone into the very drama of it, lean to the cancer, learn to the racialness and different things there. It really could have. It really gave you very small hint of horror at the beginning. Like I said, it is really with the youngest boy, and he'll have this mention of a friend or whatever. Then he has another time where, she tells him to go to sleep or whatever, and he ends up going like in the basement or in the closet or something. And then she's like, "What are you doing here?" But then it will start to pick up. You will eventually get to that phase where the film starts to roll into the horror and into, it's really going to affect mostly the boy. And, he'll be the one that's possessed and the demon that kind of latches onto him. And then we kind of go down that avenue. But, I will say, I was really thrown off by the beginning, and that kind of they did a really good job with all of that. Like I said, it really could have been a drama, really could have been that. It wasn't really some cheap horror setup there. I thought they, it, at least to me, appeared that, they really took all that serious and made a serious situation of it. Sometimes, we kind of get that horror setup, but it just seems so typical and you're just not really caring about characters, whatever. But I think here you kind of had to care. I mean, they really set that up really nicely and really, saw the struggles of this family before they really then make a bigger struggle here, because now you have all of that real life stuff and then throw a demon on top of it. The boy's possessed, and that kind of craziness. So once the mom kind of figures, that there's something going on, maybe extra with the boy, there's also some strange woman that she sees in the house, but she thinks that maybe she's social services or something in that effect. And, doesn't really know then eventually meets up with her. And then the woman tells her this crazy story about, exorcisms and that kind of stuff, and watching them and what apparently happened in this house before them. And we find out the story of that house before and what happened there. And obviously nothing good happened there. It is the portal to hell, remember? Um, so, the mom is going to, of course, not really believe this, struggle with this, whatever, till it gets to the point where she does what all the time you want to see in a horror movie where the house kind of goes crazy and bad stuff kind of, get the hell out of the house. And she does it. She, like, everybody get in the car, we're out of here. And you're like, yeah, we're doing this, we've seen it in some horror movies that they actually get in the car and leave, typically too late. But she's going to do it. They're going to get in the car and get out. But that doesn't necessarily mean things are solved. The whatever's in the little boy is already there. And, kind of things, go a little bit worse. And the mom kind of at one point, she's starting to see stuff. She's not sure, what she's seeing or whatever. Again, remember, she's already under suspicion of maybe child abuse, maybe not, having issues and so forth. So when she has to eventually pull over this car, and she's rambling on about her kids and whatever, and people come to help. Eventually she gets kind of, she's the problem. She gets checked in. Of course, the kids are taken away from her, and so forth, and they're kind of investigated, and then that. So it really does a good job of believe, whether you believe in the horror or believe the demon or not, whatever, trying, everybody around them is staying in the reality of the situation, reality of, maybe mom's finally gone off the hinge here, like people expected, and, let's protect the children and so forth. So it kind of goes down that road. I'm kind of trying to think, where I can kind of stop. Maybe I went a tad too far. I don't know, but I'll kind of leave it at that. The rest of the film, as you can kind of guess, it is the boy has the demon in it. How is she going to, how's the mom going to deal with that? Well, what happens to the family altogether? So, yeah. So, I will say with that, and I think I've said it on some of the other exorcism reviews, the last couple that I've seen, it's probably not my favorite horror, and probably one of the things about it is that, I've struggled to find, like, new stuff in it. Like, it just seems a lot of the same. We have to do an exorcism, we have to pull the demon out, that kind of ends up being the same kind of thing. A lot of the thing now is the person is possessed, we're going to turn them upside down, walk them around, and do that kind of crazy thing. But we've seen it in other horror movies, so, finding something different, making it different, it becomes really hard. It's like, once I've seen it, I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. It's not, doing anything to extra impress me or whatever. But I think, so, they kind of go down the same avenues as that. We're going to try to do an exorcism, and we get a little bit of that. And, the demon is going to be harsh, and the demon's going to have its tricks. And we kind of have all that. I would say that, they still did a pretty good job with it, the demon and the mom and that, bringing the intensity towards the end and raising the bar and really go from the family drama and the emotion of that to, the horror of the moment and bringing out, equaling what they did with the drama to bring out the horror. And I thought, they still did a pretty good job. Maybe, not anything tremendously new and shocking and so forth, as far as exorcism movies and so forth, but still did a good job with amping the drama and bringing it out and how they go about trying to solve their problem. I'll just call it that, solve the problem of the demon and so forth. Like I said, you're going to learn a little bit more or whatever. And I think at the end of the film, not really a spoiler alert or not, but I guess the film is based off of something, a real life story that supposedly happened. Again, horror, whenever it says based on a real story, you take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if it is or not. Maybe some of you are familiar or not with it, whether, it supposedly was true or not. I read you a brief thing here. There's a summary here underneath that. It's a little bit more detailed of a summary, and that kind of lends to more of the true story that this is apparently based on. So again, do you want to go down that avenue? Think it's real? Think it's not? Think it really happened, and so forth? I don't know. Maybe maybe you know this history. Maybe you know the story. Maybe have thoughts on that. I don't know. Maybe that's probably maybe a big part of why they did the film to begin with. could be. So, I'm not really tilted either way, and to say, they did a good job of reflecting that story or not, because I had no idea about that either way. So, I did like the way they ended and the seriousness of it, and I think at the end of the day, it was all about their family and kind of, overcoming, at the beginning, overcoming the life struggles, and then at the end, kind of overcoming the horror to be a family. And I think that's something that's never lost in the movie from beginning to end. I think you'll see, I think the acting was really good. The woman who played the mom was really, really good. I think you're going to see Glenn Close in a maybe a little bit of a different way, in a different role. Some similar to stuff she's done before, and then I think there's a point that maybe something a little bit different. So that'll be interesting in itself. I think, that's now another horror movie that I've seen with somebody do something I didn't expect them to do. And if you've seen maybe another review of another movie I did recently, a review I did of another movie, that there was another actress who did a role and did stuff in it that I didn't expect. So, there's that's always a fun surprise or thing to see, whether you're fans of them or not, but you're familiar and then you see them do something different. So I guess, overall I was pleased that I watched this movie, and was, even though, I think it took a little long to get to the horror of it and so forth, still, I was really solid in the way it was done from beginning to end. The acting was really good, even from the kids in the movie. So with that, I think I'm going to give it 3.5 pools of blood. In the end, I enjoyed it. Maybe, it didn't grasp me as horror to start, but then I think at the end, kind of came together into just a solid movie. So 3.5 pools of blood out of 5, and again, this one is on Netflix. So with that, horrorscorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews written in video. Certainly mostly video reviews of late, so you can like, subscribe, and do everything that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries. It is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. And Twitter, Facebook information down below as well, so you can reach out to me there. And definitely in the comment section, once you kind of catch this movie, your thoughts, feel free to throw that in there too. So with that, I'll catch you on the next review, horror fans.